Psalms 8 says, "What is man that thou art mindful of him, and the Son of Man that thou visitest him? For thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor." Something beautiful about that psalm. It reminds us of who God is, and that he is God alone. He doesn't share his throne with anyone. This week, the devotional that we're doing is a little more detailed, and so I want to make sure I don't miss any details, so I want to read a little bit of it to you. This is from the book 7 Keys to a Happy Marriage. It ends with 52 devotionals, so each week you can have a devotional time where you set aside a time to come together as a spouse, and as time goes on in your relationship, I'm sure you're going to have more than one devotional week, but this brings one opportunity for you every week to just kind of reconnect with one another and refresh one another and get prepared for the week. When we place our spouse above God, something tragic happens. We begin to find faults. When we find faults, we criticize, we hurt feelings, we get offended, we snap back at one another, and the vicious cycle goes on and on. Who are we anyway? I mean, he created the world with only his words. He is God. Christ and Christ alone deserves to be the master of our lives. When we focus on him, we begin to love and look beyond our faults. One of the most touching things I witnessed as a young man was a story that began with tragedy, or so it seemed to be a tragedy. A very handsome young man I knew was involved in a terrible accident. The truck he was driving was one of those models where the tank is located just behind the seat. The Chevy became an instant furnace, and when the gas ignited and horror clasped the man as he tried to free himself, he couldn't. But a local hero came to the rescue, pulling him out of the fire. Though his life was rescued, his face wasn't. His wife was very beautiful herself, but she was an amazing person. She loved him back to health. She never appeared to act as if anything happened. She laughed with him, she held him close, she kissed his twisted, deformed lips, and acted as if everything was normal. When we look to God and become content in him, we can admit to ourselves that he alone is perfect. Love covers a multitude of faults. At the end of each of our devotionals, you're going to see a little opportunity for you to have a discussion time, and this is this week's discussion time. Do you love God enough to love those around you? Ask these questions to one another. Maybe it's time to forget and start fresh. It's one of the great things about life. You live, you learn, you make corrections, and you love. God bless you, and have a great week.